Hello friends, welcome to pragjyotishletslearn channel. So friends, today in this video we are going to discuss some topics from the Indian geography part, and in this video we are going to discuss these 7 topics, and these are sustainable development, Rio de Janeiro Art Summit 1992, Agenda 21, resource planning in India, process of resource planning in India, resource and colonization, conservation of resources. So let's start the video. Sustainable development. Sustainable development means development should take place without damaging the environment, or in other words, the present pace of development should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. That is, we have to use the resources in such a manner that it doesn't harm the future generation, and the future generation should not compromise with their needs. Second is the Rio de Janeiro Art Summit 1992. The first international art summit was held in Rio de Janeiro in June 1992. It's of importance. The summit addressed the problems of environmental protection and socio-economic development. Leaders of more than 100 countries signed the Declaration on global climatic change and biological diversity. They also adopted Global Forest Principle and Agenda 21, and it was happened in the Rio de Janeiro Art Summit and in 1992. The next is Agenda 21. It is a declaration signed at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, that is UNCED, in 1992 at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It aims to combat environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation, etc. It also aims that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Resource planning in India, how the resources are planned in India, and as it is a very important because most in India resource depletion is happening, deforestation is happening, so it is of important to plan how to use the resources. The strategy adopted for judicious use of the available resources. It is very important in India because some regions are rich in resources while some are deficient. In India, some resources are rich in natural resources, but some are deficient. Because of it, they have to face many problems. For example, number 1, states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh are rich in coal and minerals, but lack technological and institutional support. And nowadays, technological and institutional support are very much important for a society or state for its development. The next point is Arunachal Pradesh has abundant water resources but lacks in infrastructure development. Here Arunachal Pradesh is facing infrastructure problem. And number 3 is Rajasthan is well endowed with wind and solar energy but lacks water resources. Nowadays these problems are solving but not in the extinct level. Number 4, the cold desert of Ladakh lacks natural resources, although it has a rich cultural heritage. Next is process of resource planning in India, how the resources are planning. It is divided into 3 stages. They are as follows. Number 1, identification and inventory of resources across the regions of the country. This involves surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of the resources. Number 2, planning for resource development using appropriate skill, technology and institutional setup. As nowadays in India is not behind technology, not lacking technology skills, institutional setup. Nowadays India is developing in everywhere. Number 3, matching the resources development plans with overall national development plans. India followed the policy of resource planning from the very first 5-year plan rightly after the independence. Resources and colonization. Number 1, rich natural resources of colonies were the main attraction for foreign invaders. As you guys may know that uh, at a time the foreigners came to India because of these natural resources. They have lost in this. Number two, technological development of the colonizing countries helped them to exploit resources of the colonized region. Number three is India has experienced by colonization that the availability of resources as well as the technology and quality of human resources are needed for proper development. Conservation of resources. Some views and events that contribute to conserve the resource are as follows. Number one, Gandhiji viewed that there is enough resources for everybody's needs, but not for everybody's greed. And it's very important. We can satisfy with some certain level of resources, but our greed doesn't satisfy. He was against mass production and wanted to replace with it production by masses. The next point is at the international level, resource conservation was advocated for the first time in 1968 at Club of Rome. Next point is in 1974, Schumer in his book Small is Beautiful accepted Gandhian philosophy of resource conservation. Number 4. In 1987, the Brundtland Commission report extensively mentioned the necessity of resource conservation. It also advocated the concept of sustainable development, which was subsequently published in a book titled Our Common Future. The book name is important. Just try to remember this. And that's all for today. Thank you and all the best.